Hey guys, good morning. Happy Monday. We're back. I'm going to be bringing Michelle Roberts here on just a minute. She is the founder of Novice Be Known Incorporated, entrepreneur, brand strategy consultant specialist, and speaker, brand educator. She is going to be sharing her 5-year journey to entrepreneurship with us this morning. I'm really excited about that. She's very passionate about contributing to and helping women-owned businesses. It's a big passion for her. Her design work has been published internationally, and she's a graphic design award winner 3 consecutive years. She was honored with Rochester Women's Network's Up and Coming Award in 2016. She's launched her own original product design called Messenger Birds with global company Hallmark Incorporated. Messenger Birds can be found in stores across the United States. Novice Be Known is now a fully incorporated company, thriving. She's doing very well. Michelle has branded over 67 businesses across 17 industries over the past 5 years. So she's been very busy. She takes pride in the fact that she's built her business really from the ground up. Every connection was made through grassroots effects, and her personal initiative and dedication to integrity, honesty, and quality are really at the heart of what she does. So let me see if I can get her on here. Hold on, bear with me just for a moment. Stick with me here, guys. I'm gonna go find her. All right, guys, hang on just 1 second. Let me go find her, all right? It's gonna pause for a sec. I'm back. See if we can get Michelle on here. I'm really excited to talking about Michelle because she's, really one of those people that has, worked really hard as far as, she moved, changed locations. She did not originally live. Let's see if I can grab her here. In Rochester, so she moved from where she was. She's made her connections from the ground up. So she got out there. She was not necessarily, I've talked with her in different conversations we've had about, having to work on her confidence and working on personal development and all the things that go into becoming an entrepreneur. So she has been just a huge inspiration to so many around her. And I am going to see if I can grab her here. Just a second. See if we can find you on here. Michelle, hold on just 1 second, folks. See if I can get her. Thanks for being patient. This is part of the learning curve. All right, on here. We will get started. Enjoy her story. All right, guys, thank you so much. There we go. Let's wait for her to pop on here.
There you are. I'm sorry, I had what you had said to do the airplane mode, and when I did that, it actually didn't allow internet. So
oh well,
I was sitting here waiting.
My bad.
That's okay.
If there's one thing I can tell you that technical difficulties. I mean, it's almost for me. Like if we're doing anything together, like if we ever do a speaking engagement or anything together, just know that there's going to be technical difficulties because that's just what happens. So, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you? I'm so excited to be on your.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. You look great. It's Monday morning. We're off to a great start. We've gotten the technical challenge out of the way, hopefully already. So I was just kind of, I don't know if you heard that part, but I was just kind of giving everybody a rundown of all of your fabulousness. And so tell us a little bit about, I know you're going to kind of share the journey with us, but I want to just kind of kick things off by, asking you, when you decided to start your own company, was it always something that you kind of had in your head, or was it something that kind of, as you started to work for other people, the idea started to build and it kind of evolved?
Yes. I feel like I've always had that in the back of my mind. I really want to do this myself someday. My dad is also an entrepreneur himself. And growing up, I saw a lot of that. So I think from a very early age, I kind of was intrigued by it. I think that was definitely part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So he kind of modeled that behavior to you.
Yeah, yeah, and I think
Did you go to work with him ever? Like, were you able to like come with him or any of that kind of stuff?
no, but he works at home,
Oh,
so it was
so
like
there you go.
it was like a front seat, you know.
That's awesome. So when did you decide? When did you say, okay, I'm gonna start my own company? What was like your first kind of, here's my first two or three things that I did when I said, okay, I'm starting my own.
Yeah, so I think before anything, I really believe that when you realize your potential, you can do anything. But that wasn't always what I believed, and that wasn't always easy for me to actually live. So when I started the business, it was 5 years ago, and um, I really had to take a hard look because I was in a couple of jobs that I just didn't feel like I felt like I was stifled and I wasn't able to get out and really live my potential. And I wasn't happy. I was in a couple jobs and I was belittled by my boss, and I was making like $15 an hour working part-time. And no health insurance, and I just I had to take a really hard look at like what did I value,
Mm-hmm.
and were those values aligning with what I was valuing? Was
Mm-hmm.
there a misalignment? Was there a gap? And I think for me, um, because I was in such a low place, I didn't value what I was doing. I didn't value myself. I was listening to other people tell me if I was good at something. I was kind of at the whim of what people thought, and I didn't feel like I was in control of my life. And so when I started to really look at what I valued and what I didn't, I saw a big gap there. And first it was, what do I really value and who am I? Um, and that,
Which, I mean, those are tough questions. That's not like, okay, let me just jot that down real quick. I mean, it takes some self-reflection, and, it's it takes some time to kind of answer those questions, and it can take, you know, a little time. Like, you kind of have to ask yourself these questions like every day for a while,
yeah,
right?
oh yeah, definitely. It was a process to, actually take that step forward and really start to look at myself that way, because it's not easy for us to do that. Um, it's a lot of introspective work and the help of a coach. So one of the first steps that I did when I decided I was going to start my business, one was making a decision. So
Yeah.
I needed to. There would never be another plan B. I was going to do whatever it took, and that type of commitment, when that happens, the world opens up for you.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
think Will Smith says that. He's like one of my like go-to.
Yeah, me too.
I love that. So once I made the decision, then I got a coach. I knew that I needed help. I needed help with things I didn't know. I knew I had talent, but I didn't know how to really build a business, or even simple things like, what do I charge?
Mhm.
How do I talk about what I do? What
Yeah.
do I stand for? What really do I stand for? And how do I actually convey my value?
Mhm.
So that
Yeah.
those two things, and then third would really be just getting out there and pounding the pavement. When I started my business, I knew 5 people out here. I'm not originally from Rochester.
Yeah. You're from Utica, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
They say that right? Okay.
Yep.
How big is that? A small, I think it's a fairly small town. Well, compared to Rochester, yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So you need 5 people. I'm going to move out here. I'm going to start a business.
I had worked for a couple companies out here, and like
Mhm.
I really felt like I was just in a really bad space because I wasn't valuing myself, and I was allowing other people to dictate my value with my work, with my life. And so, people, I would say like I knew five people, now I know like 5,000. I feel like, dude, building it every day and pounding the pavement and doing it that way is really what I did.
And I think what you said before, when you started, like you made a decision, like you were starting to notice where you were being limited in the environment that you were in. And that, kind of pushed you to like, really, okay, hold on a second. Let's ask some of these hard questions because honestly, I mean, we can spend years in that position, where we're just kind of like going along and I don't know, I guess we think there's going to be some external force that's going to make things better. But,
Right.
once you notice that there's some of those disconnects or there's space between, you know, what you value, what you're doing, how you're spending your time. I mean, these are, life is going by. You're not going to get that time back, but yeah, I think that's awesome because making that decision and we've heard some of the statements, nothing becomes dynamic until it becomes specific. And that decision is like what drives you even to go from knowing five people to knowing 5,000. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do for some people. So,
Right.
um,
Yeah, especially when you're
is that easy for you? Is that easy
no,
for you to get out and connect with people? Is that like your personality? Because I mean, for some people it is, but
yeah,
it's not for me.
the natural introverts of the world. It is.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm more of an introvert, and a natural. I'm sorry, extrovert. It's more, but I'm more of an introvert.
Yeah.
So for me, it was very difficult. I still joke about the first time I was at a networking event, and the door was like maybe 5 inches from me, and I was texting my coach, and I was like, I'm out of here. I gotta get out of here, and I like started to just inch my way to the door, and then it came
Yeah.
to me to stand up, and when I stood up, I did great. And I think just pushing those comfort zones every day, you know, it's a must. And you do get a really great sense of accomplishment and confidence too.
Yeah, that's true. And I always, whenever I have to do something hard like that, I always try to think about how good I'm going to feel when it's over.
Yeah,
It's like, focus on that.
exactly.
So tell me about your messenger birds, because that's incredible. Where'd the idea come from? How did that get started?
Yeah, the messenger birds is really a symbol for authentic human connection. So much in today's world, we're on our phones and there's so much technology. And the messenger bird was really a way to connect in a very authentic way. Each bird that I create is handcrafted. There is a hole in the belly of the bird where you put a little handwritten note, and then put in the bird and give the bird away. So that was something
Oh,
that
that's
I kind of developed over just as a side business over the years.
Mhm.
And I got lucky last year. I launched with Hallmark, and the
That's awesome.
birds went national in Hallmark stores.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's really cool. That's very, very cool. So tell me what's been I don't know if I mean, sometimes it's hard to pick one, but what do you think has been your biggest lesson or something that you kind of reflect back on or an aha moment or a lesson where you kind of reflect back on it? You find yourself reflecting back on that moment or that experience regularly.
Hmm.
Do you have anything that kind of stands out like that for you?
Yeah, I think there's one thing I'm always working on, and that's the perfectionist in me. So it's about not being so hard on myself. I can't
Oh, God,
really go back
so true.
continue to
Yeah.
go back to that. But I think I've gotten a lot better with that, but it's still, it's a practice.
Yeah. So what do you think being a perfectionist does? Like how does that limit you, you think?
It limits me because I can be too hard on myself, and then I get into a space that isn't useful for me or for anyone. I think to let it go and be more organic sometimes with things, um, they come out better.
Yeah.
They have more impact and more inspiration that you wouldn't have known unless you kind of let that part go a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta give it a try, and then you go from there, and then, the next step, and then the next step. Because I mean, sometimes it's the idea, and I would imagine with what you do, it's very creative in nature. So the idea may not come all at once. Does that happen for you, where it's like over a period of time?
Yes, especially when I'm helping a person or a CEO or a woman entrepreneur understand and uncover how they're different and who they are, what's their purpose, what's their core. That can kind of take some reflection, and of course with the creative part as well too. But I
Yeah.
think being a perfectionist to a point is still good because I strive for that excellent quality every time. You know,
Yeah.
I don't let that go. That's something that I do not let go. But on the other side of that, it's a little bit of a process.
Yeah, for sure. And I would imagine it probably would be for your clients as well, because that information you're probably asking them questions that maybe they haven't really spent a lot of time on. So it's a partnership as far as forming all of that and getting somebody's brand really honed in on what they're all about.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I think what I love so much about that is that I branded myself, in a way I wasn't
Mhm.
where I was, and it's about that awareness and then aligning the gaps to
Mhm.
create and communicate the truest value, your potential. And so for me, doing that for myself, I think that's where the true passion for me stems from, is
Mhm.
because I was able to do that for myself, seeing others do that, especially women CEOs, women entrepreneur, women in leadership roles, that is just like the ultimate fulfilling project or fulfilling piece of what I do.
So what's been the most fulfilling or rewarding project that you've done? I mean, you've had a lot, so I'm curious.
It, you know,
So,
I don't even know if I can pick one. Like I really thought about this. um,
yeah.
I, I think it's a few of them stand out, and you know, anytime someone's able to step more into who they are or who they've wanted to be, and they are able to expand the work that they do and who they are, I think all of the clients are so fulfilling for me for that. So I think to pick one, it's so hard. So,
Yeah, yeah. So, you've had a busy year. I mean, you guys just recently got a home. You're engaged,
yes.
so you've got all that coming up. Your business is thriving. Um, is he supportive? Does he sit down with you, and how's it work with your business and your relationship and all of that?
Well, he knows that I'm married to my business first. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's just get this straight.
No, he
I love it.
since day one, he's been extremely supportive.
That's awesome.
I'm very lucky, I feel like, because I always wanted a partner where we could share ideas and get creative together and work together in some sense. So for me, he's awesome because we're able to do that. He's really helped me and my business as far as putting together certain processes and systems and getting me to think about all this cool stuff that lives up here
Yeah, yeah.
and putting it down on paper, just to really help my business grow. So he's been a really wonderful support and just helping me grow as well, most personally and professionally.
So when it's date night and you're out, you guys are out and you have a really great idea for a client, or you see something, you're like, hold on, honey, I gotta write this down real quick. Or you launch into conversation, because those moments of inspiration and creativity, I mean, sometimes they're just sort of spontaneous. So, he's cool with that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Full on strategy session, like when we drive home to see my parents. There's like a good 3 hours there where we'll just like have a strategy session.
That's very cool. That's awesome. So what do you do? So what do you do to like unplug and balance out? Because you're busy. I mean, you have a lot going on. Because you're an entrepreneur, and I know that when you own your own business, you know, there's many different facets to it. So are you ever able to set it down and just sort of unplug from it?
Um, I think to a point, but never fully.
Hmm.
I think I have my certain rituals that I do, which are great to kind of reset. Um,
Yeah.
I think in the first couple years, I didn't do that, probably at all. I worked immensely. I worked very hard. I do now, but I'm more concentrated on making more of a balance because it's just you burn out, you know, and I've burnt out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I make
I can relate.
sure that I maintain that energy level and I say no to
Hmm.
myself, and that's where the whole, you know, being kind to myself and not putting that pressure as much is important because it's just unrealistic to go to every event.
Hmm. Right.
Right?
Right. Yeah. You have to have those boundaries there to be able to do your, I mean, if you say yes to everything, you can find yourself really over calendared and, you know, just, it can
Yeah.
catch up fast.
Oh yeah.
Um, so tell me what some of your, you know, because we talked about this before, and you talked about being an introvert and you know, going out and expanding your base from 5 to 5,000 is not an easy thing to do. What do you do for personal development stuff? Do you have any like favorite resources or books, or what do you? I mean, I know you said you hired a coach. Um, was that more for the personal development side or business side?
So I think they go hand in hand, and I think that's another point to make is that whatever you do in your personal, it affects your business, and vice versa. So yes, I've used 3 coaches over the years. Um, I think I try to read a lot of books as well and listen to different things to keep my mind stimulated. Um, but I think continually, and it doesn't have to be business focused, personal development. Um,
Yeah.
so for me, I like Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. So to keep me in the present
Yeah.
moment, sometimes I'll just put that on audio. I absolutely love that. That helps a lot. And yeah, I think just, and I'm constantly reading more books on branding, and I love learning and expanding my knowledge on brand, especially because it's such a, I don't know, there's just so much to it, and so you know, just keep growing in that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of endless, really, when you think about it. It's such a creative process because it's so specific to each person that,
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about what's the difference between branding and marketing, because I know people kind of, not everybody understands the difference, really.
Yeah, there's a big misconception, and I talk a lot about this in my workshops. And it's not unheard of for people to want to jump right into, I want a nice website, or hey, I need a logo. And that's, you know, that falls along the line of branding versus marketing. And I say that branding is strategic and marketing is tactical. So where a brand might encourage someone to buy a product, and it directly supports the brand, a brand actually says, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is why I
Mhm.
exist. If you like me, buy me and support me, my friends. So, you know, that's branding. Marketing is tactical. So it kind of it's your newest marketing initiative, but it always supports the brand, the
Mhm.
bigger picture of the brand.
Yeah.
So another analogy that I love to give in my presentations is that a marketing tactic will help you buy, depending on if you're a customer, help you buy your first foreign Toyota car, right? You see those commercials, especially now in the season of Christmas. It might get you down there and buy your first Toyota, but the brand will actually determine if you will always buy Toyotas the rest of your life. So, and
Sure.
I think that's a really important distinction to make.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a great explanation. So what where do you get inspiration from? Where do you go for your is I mean, who inspires, are there, I know you mentioned Will Smith earlier, and he's one of my favorite too. I love his stuff. I love to listen to him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So who else? And who else out there in the world inspires me? I love any women that are willing to stand up for, I don't want to get into politics, but
Yeah.
women that are taking back their power or are empowering others. I think those are all people that I look up to. I think in the very beginning of starting my business, I needed to really focus on changing my mindset. So I listened to Will Smith, that video, like I said, over and over and over. I also listened to like Les Brown on YouTube over Simon Sinek because his Start With Why book really changed and contributed to my mythology and philosophy around how I brand both people and organizations.
Yeah. Yeah, I love all those things. I love Les Brown. I love Simon Sinek, Start With Why. I love the book because it really, that's one of the most powerful things we can do is really to share our stories, and understanding why we do what we do is what makes us want to get up and get out of bed every day. So it is such an important element, and it's a great resource, absolutely great resource. So if I'm really, I'm just so excited for you. I'm so happy for your business. I think what you're doing is great. I'm inspired by your story and by how you have, just kind of pushed yourself into growing. Because the type of business that you do, you have to know a lot of people. You have to be able to be out there. And for someone who has more of an introverted personality, to get out there, get to know people, start those relationships, and build that grassroots foundation is no small accomplishment. So great job, congratulations. But tell us, what do you have going on? How can people get a hold of you if people want to find your website? I think you said you have something coming up in January. How can people get a hold of you and get to know you better and find out more about what you do?
Yeah, so a couple ways. I have a website, but it is being redone right now, and it will be launching in a couple weeks. Very excited about that. I'm also I do workshops and presentations, so I always I advertise those on LinkedIn. Please connect with me on LinkedIn if you haven't. My email as well, Michelle@novusknown.com. And so I will keep everyone up to date as far as workshops and presentations. And this year I plan on launching a webinar, so that will be another way to kind of expand my current reach.
Awesome. And you're gonna have to let me know when you do that, because I'm gonna be your first sign up for your webinar. Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Congratulations on Messenger Birds and Novice Be Known Incorporated and all of the fabulous things that you have going on. Thanks for taking the time to jump on. You're really a source of inspiration to so many women out there, and I am just really glad that you joined us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thanks so much for being on with us. Have a great rest of your week. Go out and kick some butt.
Yes.